This past week, former HUD Secretary Julian Castro made his third visit to New Hampshire this year. While the Democrat focused on the midterms, he hasn't been shy at all about his interest in potentially making a run for the White House in 2020. We sat down with him for a one-on-one interview in Nashua. Secretary Castro, thanks for joining us. We're here just a little over a week from Election Day. Democrats really feel like they have the momentum. You're here to help, but take us through, what happens if these high expectations are not met for the Democrats in the midterm?
I think they are going to be met. I see a lot of enthusiasm out there, including here in New Hampshire. What I see are folks who want accountability, whether it's at the State House or in Washington, D.C. So I believe that what we've seen over the last year is folks from every different corner of our country, including here in New Hampshire, get activated that weren't activated before. And so I think that we're going to do well on election night, and I'm confident that we're going to take back Congress and that y'all are going to have some good victories here in New Hampshire.
You yourself have said recently that you're, quote, likely to run for president. What's your timeline?
I'm going to make a decision right after the November election, and then if I decide to run, we'll make an announcement after the turn of the year.
And then what goes into that decision for you?
I've had the chance over the course of just about the last year to go out and listen to folks here in New Hampshire, to hear people out in different states and get a sense of what people are thinking. That's part of it. Also, what happens on November 6th, because I do think that these midterm elections set a tone for the next couple of years, and they send a message from the American people. I'm not in a rush to make a decision, and so I want to understand what that message is. But I believe that whether I run or not, that it's time for a new generation of leadership, and it's time for leadership that is trying to summon what's better in us and to unite the country and to pursue an agenda for the 21st century that looks forward instead of one that looks backward, that tries to make our country better than it ever has been instead of trying to make us anything again. And I look forward, if I run, to articulating a strong vision for the future, and if I don't run, to supporting a Democrat that is able to do that.
Does it bother you at all that those first two voting states, Iowa and New Hampshire, don't have very much diversity?
Well, I mean, candidly, of course, I wish that that we had the first couple of states that would have more diversity. Yeah, I think that would be a good thing. There are some positives to Iowa and New Hampshire going first. For instance, for those of us who may not start out as having the biggest platform or the biggest name ID, Iowa and New Hampshire are states where you can still go out and meet people very directly, and you don't have to spend as much money as you would in a California or a Texas. So on balance, sure, I wish that that these states that started off were more diverse, but there are also some advantages. I like the fact that you have Nevada and South Carolina right after these states, because I do think that that provides some good balance in other parts of the country and with more diversity.
A big part of President Trump's success seems to be this promise that he would shake up Washington, change things, sort of reset the board. How do you do that in your own way? Make this promise to people and then deliver on it, that you can change the way Washington works?
Well, I think you have to change the institutions. You have to work on the institutions, from how you do redistricting at the state level to how transparent Congress is. I'll give you an example of that. Congress is one of the most opaque, least transparent organizations out there. If you as a reporter request information from an office of a congressional member, you can't get it because congressional offices are not subject to the Freedom of Information Act. So all of those taxpayers out there that wonder, can they get any kind of records from their congressional member's office? Usually the answer is no. We need to make our government more transparent so that the American people can understand what's happening there. If you want to shake up Washington, you need to start by making the very offices of the people that represent you turn over the information that they should. And you'll notice that none of the folks who have had an opportunity to, whether it's been Donald Trump or other people, have ever brought that up. It's time that we shake it up in the right way.
All right, Secretary Castro, we very much appreciate your time.
Thank you.